Nigeria, We Hail Thee was a national anthem used from independence in 1960 until 1978 during General Olusegun Obasanjo's administration, when it was replaced with a new anthem, Arise, O Compatriots. After 46 years, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today signed a bill reinstating Nigeria, We Hail Thee as a national anthem. The bill was sponsored by the majority leader of the House of Representatives, Julius Ihobere, who said that the anthem encompasses, contains, and exudes the kind of energy, resourcefulness, and sense of vision that is good for Nigeria. Many Nigerians are, however, wondering why the change is coming at this time in the nation's history. How will the return to the old national anthem inspire a new Nigeria? These and more shall be the focus of our discussion on this episode of Nigeria Today. Thanks for joining us. I am your carrier, Clinton. Welcome. Now joining us in the studio is David Akoji, the Director, Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency. It's good to have you in Nigeria Today once again.
It's a pleasure to be here, Eukaria. Good evening, viewers.
Also with us in the studio is Chris Agere. He's the Director General, Flag Foundation of Nigeria. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Good evening, Nigerians.
You know, it's always a pleasure having you.
Nigeria, we heard thee.
Well, before we begin the conversation, let's listen to the national anthem as was recited for the first time in public at the National Assembly. Now, that was the national anthem, of course, the old national anthem. Now, Chris, I'll start with you. I know you've been, at the forefront of people that really wanted this national anthem. How does this resonate with you?
Thank you very much, fellow Nigerians. You can see the excitement. I can't hide it. I can't help myself. So you have to tolerate me for that. Today marks a remarkable day in the history of Nigeria. It is a journey back to school, back to the beginning. Simply reinventing ourselves, reinventing our nation. We have no better option than to reinvent Nigeria, just as what happened today, the National Assembly, Mr. President, and then let us take a leave from here, irrespective of where we have wronged ourselves, what have gone wrong, what have not gone wrong. It marks a new beginning, and it's a journey that, by the grace of God, Nigeria can't afford to fail. by the grace of God, Nigeria has taken a very strong step of faith towards reinventing itself. Nigeria, we had it. Indeed, we had our dear country.
Now, David, today the president signed the law, into law, a bill returning Nigeria back to the old national anthem. Many, Nigerians are, asking why the change at this point in our in our nation's history.
Well, there are many reasons for this change, but perhaps I'll just speak to a few for want of time. This anthem brings back a nostalgic feeling. It takes us back to how it was at the point of independence. When we had leaders like Nnamdi Azikiwe, like Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, like the Sardauna, and so on. And one narrative that was quite pervasive in their time is the fact that, yes, we're different, but we're brothers. Our cultures may differ, our religion, may differ, but we are Nigerians, And what that tells you is that at the end of the day, no matter what differences we have, we are brothers. That's what this national anthem emphasizes. And for a long time, many Nigerians have been calling for bringing back of that national anthem and saying that it speaks more to our contemporary issues, And the president is very concerned about the issues of national cohesion, of building a sense of national unity. This informed his decision to rename the erstwhile Ministry of Information and Culture and to remove the culture component and all those other ones and now call it Ministry of Information and National Orientation. This decision was deliberate on the part of the president to emphasize the need to galvanize our country into one cohesive unit, with a uniform purpose for national development, and for projecting Nigeria as the country that it ought to be within the Committee of Nations within the African continent. That's just one reason. The second reason is this. We have reached a point where we must begin to emphasize the need for patriotism, And at National Orientation Agency, we have been working towards this. We will continue to work towards it. But if you consider the words of this national anthem that the president signed today into law as Nigeria's national anthem, you will find that it works up empathy, for patriotism. You can basically, as you recite it or listen to it, feel that sense of empathy with the country. Nigeria, we hail thee. That national anthem is not speaking to a government part-time because governments are transient. One of the things we are doing at the National Orientation Agency to get citizens to understand that love for country must not depend on the performance of a government part-time. That the love for country must endure. We have no other country but Nigeria. So yes, indeed, Nigeria, we hail thee. Our country is greatly endowed with diverse potentials in human and material resources. And we must never forget this as citizens. We must never curse our country. We must never condemn our country or speak down to our country. Words have power. So all of these are factors, that are coming together. And then a return to our roots. What is Nigeria? It is our land of birth. It is our own, our native land.
No. Okay, I'll have to stop you there, David, so that Chris will talk to us. Now, Chris, at the National Assembly, the bill had an accelerated hearing. How important is this to deserve this kind of speedy attention?
I'm the wrong person to ask that question, but since you want a candid answer, what happened just divine. You can't believe that people like me, some of our followers, the Flower Foundation of Nigeria, It's a prayer point. We're looking for the easiest way to recohere the society, the easiest way to bring Nigerians together, the easiest way to give out a call, call of duty, call to duty, a national assignment for that matter. So what happened is this: it is just God that wanted it so. Let us downplay politics of any sort in what has happened.
Okay, having said that,
Yes.
now, how does the national anthem, reflect the Nigerians' aspirations and values?
Okay, if you take the national anthem, the whole national anthem word by word, Nigeria will have the. Just look at what the interpretation, my lady, the African queen, I heard the salutation. And there's no human being, no matter how bad you are, that will not welcome such, a bowing salutation. And indeed, it's to ourselves, both internally, consciously and unconsciously, to our land, our fatherland, Nigeria, we heard the. He went to say, our own dear native land. Well, you've seen the effects of tribalism. You lay claim to your native land. Irrespective of your native land, you are not struggling with anybody. This is Nigeria. Nigeria is the mother that houses all of us. And then he went on to say, though tribes and tongues may differ, are we pretending? Ogami here, if I begin to speak, you will not hear me, and I will not hear him. Here we are. We intermarry, we do everything. So, in other words, when you talk about recognizing that our tongues differ, our cultures differ, our traditions differ, our religions differ, even our personal and sexual interests differ. But in the midst of these tribe and tongue, even as different as it is, it reminds us that in brotherhood we stand. In brotherhood we stand. We hold our hands together. And just imagine when the egos are playing, the last, AFCON Cup, when they go to this, Nigerians forget, melt in the midst of that. This is what this national anthem intends to achieve. Let us consciously and unconsciously, deliberately melt into it. In brotherhood we stand, because you can't do it alone. And it's so happened, no major group in Nigeria can produce the presidency without this. You can't do it alone. Nigerians are all proud. Indeed. Aren't you a proud Nigerian? I am. When you see me with my green, white, green costume, and as audacious as we are, look at Nigerians and their contributions to human development in every field of human endeavor. Historically, in every area today, in science and technology, in space race, in diversities of all, Nigerians are there, proudly giving a good account of their fatherland, our sovereign motherland. That your place of birth is your sovereign motherland. Nigeria indeed houses all all our sovereign motherland. We melt into one, just like the national flag, the green, white, green that we claim ownership to. So I don't know if I've that's such a selected hearing as you ask. It is simply divine, an idea whose time has come. No force can stop.
Thank you very much.
Even the president himself, who proposed it, he never knew people like us exist that have been crying for it. But lo and behold, here it comes.
Thank you very much, Chris. We're going to take a breather here and listen to a cross-section of Nigerians on their thoughts on the national anthem as put together by Kemini Williams. Don't go away.
We don't live alone by just the food and all those things. There are other beautiful things that also makes life very beautiful. So if the spirit of the old national anthem, could evoke and revive the spirit of nationalism or whatever, it's still in place. Yes, but then first thing is always good to be first, and awareness and sensitization will help the people to understand the thoughts of the government.
I don't think that is the current national challenge.
What you've heard of Nigeria, we hailed it.
That is the intro.
You know it?
I know the intro.
We are trying the intro.
You make it for myself.
Wait. Nigeria, we hailed thee, our own dear native land. No trial to Medifa, in brotherhood we stand. Nigeria, son, are proud to stand. our sovereign motherland. Yes.
Welcome back. In case you are just joining us, this is Nigeria Today, and we're looking at the return of the old national anthem. I have with me two gentlemen in the studio. Now, David, you had people there. One thing that people are concerned about is, the land. Try to memorize this this one, because right now it's new to some of us.
Absolutely.
It's very new. And I was wondering, this one has three stanzas. Are we going to go with the three stanzas or just one, just like we do with the old one now?
We would go with the three stanzas. The length even of these three stanzas is not as long as the one we're exiting at the moment. And Eukarya, you say Nigerians are asking whether this is the most important thing that our country needs to do at this time. You see, we tend to de-emphasize the importance of the human component, in the affairs that we carry out in this country. No matter how many bridges you build, no matter how many superstructures and highways, super highways you build and all of that, unless you have the minds of the people working in the right way that it should, they would destroy these investments that you are making in heavy infrastructure, And if you look at our national landscape, indeed there's an urgent need to drive all of us from our various sides of the national fault lines into one cohesive unit, so that we can solve the monumental problems that confront our country. And remember, the problems that we're seeing at the moment are not isolated to Nigeria alone. The cost of living crisis is something that you find happening even in some of the advanced countries. You only need to do some research, and then you will find out the various dimensions to which these countries are also being impacted. And if you have people who live in countries like US, Britain, Canada, and all of that, they will also explain to you, the cost of energy. And by energy, I'm talking about fuel. The dynamics that are driving those costs are not within local control. So when you ask the question, is this the most important thing? At a time like this, it's extremely important to get our citizens to strongly believe in their country, to love their country, and to believe that we are able to exit this present period of challenges and hardship. And indeed we are. Nigeria has exited several challenges that ordinarily would have brought other countries down and to their knees. So this, at this time, is extremely important. We at the National Orientation Agency, what we plan to do.
Okay, I was about coming to that. What are you doing to ensure that
what
people get familiar with this anthem?
Now, we recognize the fact that our population demography, as at today, places the youth segment between 45 years and down. So if you count from 45 and you start counting 44, 43, down to the child that is born today, they form like 93% of our population demography. And most of them were born long after this national anthem that has been put in place now, came to be. This national anthem was formulated around 1957 and then became Nigeria's national anthem in 1960 when the Union Jack was brought down and the Nigerian flag, green, white, green, was hoisted. Across the world, citizens respect their national symbols. The flag, the anthem, the pledge, and all of that. You need to see the emotion that they show when any of this is being exhibited on the international stage. We want Nigerians to do same, to love their country and to know that their country is a separate entity from transient governments that come and go. So if a particular government is in place and you are one of those who are not happy with the policies and programs of that government, it doesn't mean that you should hate your country, So this national anthem that we have gone back to, that the president signed today, it reminds us of this fact. Nigeria, we hail thee. Nigeria is our motherland. We have nowhere else to go but Nigeria. So yes, it's extremely important to put in place national symbols, and the national anthem is a national symbol that brings us together and reminds us of the issues that are salient to our survival as a country. When you say, "In brotherhood we stand," you are speaking to the man in southeast, the man in south-south, the man in southwest, the man in north-central, the man in northeast, the man in northwest. That yes, we recognize our differences, and this was the disposition of our early leaders as we're exiting the colonial era. I mentioned them before, Nnamdi Azikiwe and all that. They recognize these differences, but then they also recognize the fact that we are brothers, and we must contribute to serve this nation to ensure that it grows to its full potential.
Okay. Now, Chris, you know, for this anthem to achieve the desired goal, we don't only need to mouth the words, but to internalize the anthem, so much so that it will, you know, whip up the patriotism in us. So how can we do this?
Well, so, like everything else, internalizing the wordings, so that subconsciously it becomes part of you. It's doable, and we all have to do it. Our hands have to come on deck, and then the tangibility of something, as it is, it appears abstract. It's indeed abstract. You can't hold and then you can only feel it. That is where the national anthem walks hand in hand with the national flag. The national flag as the country you can see and feel and hold. That's how we define the national flag as the flag of a living country. As you hold the flag, the national flag, reciting this national anthem, right? These are supernatural things, because we are not joking here. The process of, you know, reading the national anthem or hosting the flag is a ritual. It brings us to another thing. What should be the posturing of every Nigerian when the national anthem is being the process being observed, or when the national flag is being hosted? The solemn attention paid to it is part of it, is contained in the act, like I was trying to show you where. When the national anthem is going on, once it starts, Nigeria, whether you are in the church, you are in the school, you are in an event, you are in the marketplace, whosoever you may be, as long as your legs can carry you, you are expected to stand on your feet. Standing attention. If I can demonstrate it, you stand this way. Stand this way. It's no longer like when the national anthem is going on, you see people, you know, running around, including the media, including the press that's always running around. From now going on, this is what the act says. And so as you stand in that, it's like in a prayer mood. It's a worship, it's a national worship, it's a ritual. You stand with your right hand close to your chest and stand attention, focusing. You are not expected to converse or discuss anything with anybody. Those on military uniform or any, you know, paramilitary uniform, these security men are expected to stand in the military attention as the national anthem starts going on. That is how it is. It's not, excuse me, it's a very serious matter.
So you carry on.
And that penalties,
like I described to you,
Flag Foundation have been teaching, and that's the way to follow.
Thank you very much. Now,
I just
David,
said to you that 93% of our population are not conscious of this national anthem.
Yes.
So that means there's work cut out for the national orientation.
Exactly.
For Nigerians.
Yes.
With all four
Now,
Nigerians.
we realize this through, in partnership with private all stakeholders and all of that.
Yes.
So we realize this. We are already preparing. We are going to take sensitization and advocacy and awareness creation on this national anthem, what it means to us, how citizens should understand and act within its context to every nook and corner of this country. We're already making our plans for this. You know, intense sensitization using all available messaging platforms. We're going to popularize it, because like I told you, the majority of the people were not around when this national anthem was put in place.
Th-
So we need
thank
to
you.
make them know it, own it, and buy into it.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And with that, we'll wrap up today's episode of Nigeria Today. I had with me David Akoji, Director, Special Duties and State Operations in the National Orientation Agency. And also I had Chris Agiri, the Director General, Flag Foundation of Nigeria. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us, Eukaria.
This crime has to be created consciously, deliberately.
Thank you very much. Of course, we
That's
do.
it. That's the law.
Definitely.
That's coming to play.
Now, thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget Nigeria Today airs weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also check out this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I am Eukaria Clinton. Goodbye.